Welcome to UpClose TV. I'm Linda Medina Lopez and your host for today. Joining us today is Edmond Oropez, Chief Officer of Teaching and Learning for Austin ISD. Edmond, thank you for joining us this afternoon. How are you?
Oh, it's a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Great. Well, we certainly want to get to know more about your department and learn more about you. Can you tell us more about your background, where you're from, how you ended up in Austin?
Oh, sure. It's an interesting story. I'm a son of, my father was in the Marine Corps, so he was a career Marine. So I was born in San Diego, California, and as you suspect, we moved around quite a bit. About every 2 years, we moved throughout the country. I've lived in North Carolina, Texas. Actually, Hawaii was the best spot. I always tell people that when you start your life off in Hawaii growing up, it kind of goes downhill after that. So, but I moved quite all the way around, and my father retired in Corpus Christi, Texas, where I went to high school. I went to Moody High School in Corpus Christi. And then after that, I came to the University of Texas, went to undergrad here in Austin, loved it here, and hoped that one day I could actually return here to Austin. But I began my career in the Rio Grande Valley, and where I was a teacher in San Benito, Texas. So I was a high school teacher there, and I taught for 5 years. And then I went on to become an assistant principal at a middle school in Weslaco Independent School District, where I went to become a principal of a middle school very shortly after that. Principal of high school, and I caught the attention. We were doing some pretty cool things down in the valley, and we had high achievement, even though it was a high poverty area. And so I caught the attention of then the superintendent, Dr. Pat Forgione. They were doing a study on high-performing border schools and at the University of Texas, and I was one of the research studies our schools were. So he was attracted to it, and he picked up the phone one day and had him and a couple other people on the phone with me and called me and said we were interested in interviewing for this high school that we have available at Lanier High School, where I came up, I interviewed, and they offered me the job, and I was so excited to come back to Austin as much as I love the Rio Grande Valley that I took the opportunity and started here at Lanier High School. Again, caught the attention of Dr. Cruz and other administrators in the senior level, and they brought me up to become an executive principal. And then went from there. We helped turn around Reagan and Crockett and Linden LBJ High School. And after that, then Dr. Cruz promoted me up the chain as far as Associate Superintendent for High Schools, then Chief Schools, and now Chief Officer for Teaching and Learning. So in a nutshell, it's a fast, it has been, but it has been exciting, and I'm just really grateful of the opportunity I was given here, and I think it's been beneficial for both the district and both myself.
Definitely, definitely. What was your best memory as an educator?
I love teaching. Mm-hmm. Matter of fact, I was visiting a classroom yesterday at Manchaca Elementary, and I was sharing there with some of the teachers and the administrators there that's really what I love, is teaching. I hope to end my career back in the classroom one day. And when you're working directly with students and you get the connections with the families and the students and you see the learning, you're helping the learning process. But that's really what I remember back in teaching in San Benito, working with several students. I've had several students that actually are teachers here in the district, and really working with them and seeing their growth, and as they were applying for their colleges, that was really exciting. And when they graduated, when they walked across the stage and they thanked you, and you knew you helped change lives for the better. That's really what my biggest memories are.
Yes, it's great to see the full circle when you were a student, when they were students, and now professionals, and now they're giving back to their own students.
Yeah, it's nice to see that.
So you have a new position, Chief Officer of Teaching and Learning. Can you explain to me what the role is and what you oversee and your vision as Chief Officer?
Sure. It's one of our goals was to create a more agile and more responsive organization. So when Dr. Cruz became the official superintendent, then he decided that, you know what, let me collapse and consolidate different departments so we can create a more agile organization, flatten the organization. So my office, or as we call it, the Teaching and Learning Community, and it's done by, the name is purposeful, and because we want to build a community of learners, a community of educators that are coming together to support our schools. We oversee the 130 educational sites that we have in the district, and I look over all the academic programming, fine arts, athletics, foreign language, you name it, and then it's all umbrellaed underneath myself. So that's our department, and we're able to, anything that impacts the schools, we're pretty much involved or in charge of. And so when we moved in the direction of reorganizing to do that, creating a new vision of how we're going to operate in ASD, as you know, we're down the path of reinventing the urban education experience here. And what that means is creating more innovative schools, schools that are more responsive to our families and our students, schools that are going to meet the needs of our learners when we're looking at the next 10, 15, 20 years. So our task and our vision is to take the successes that we've had over the last several years, and we've had a lot of successes, like building early college high schools, gender schools, our young women and young men's leadership academies, building Garza Online, our elementaries now, again, they're blue ribbon elementary schools, taking those successes that we've had and reinventing and learning from them and evolving to even create more innovative schools. So our vision is really to create world-class schools that are going to support our kids and make sure that they're competitive in the future.
So we know that Austin is booming. It's doing awesome. A lot of people are moving into the city. Why should families choose Austin ISD first?
Well, first and foremost, I've said this publicly all the time. We have the best schools. We are. And you look at any data point that you want to have, we have the highest graduation rate of all time. Our SAT and ACT scores they're beating the state and national averages every single time for all groups. That's our white group, our Hispanic group, our African American group. Our students are outperforming their peers across the state and across the country. But more importantly, we have great programming. I mean, they rival anything else out there. When you talk about STEM education, we're at the forefront of STEM education. When you look at an Aikens High School, for instance, that has our rocketeering programs, has our engineering programs that we're looking through. So our schools are rigorous, they're world class, and they're going to, more important, they're going to position a family student to make sure that they're successful down the road.
Definitely. What is your vision for this office?
One, we want to create a responsive organization, one that when our teachers and our families, our principals, when they call us, then we can respond immediately. That's another reason why we created the structure, let's say that we have a question about our bilingual program. Well, the bilingual program is housed underneath our office here. So therefore, because it's part of our community, we can respond very quickly. A real example, we heard the challenges, the successes of our dual language program as we implement and grow our dual language program, and we know that's extremely important for our families, for our schools, for our students. But we also know we have challenges in implementing some of the things that we've been trying to do. So because of the way we're structured now, I can reevaluate, I can look through and work with our principals, work with our teachers to retool us to even get better in dual language. So the office was created really to be responsive and that we can mobilize rather quickly because it's a one-stop shopping. I mean, we have myself and the associates and we're looking through and how we can positively impact our campuses and we can make decisions based on that.
Tell me more about some of the unique programs and services that AISD offers. You mentioned STEM. Is there anything else for particular in middle school and in high school?
Sure. I'll start with middle school because middle school is where we've really spent a lot of investments over the last couple of years. When you look at Gus Garcia, we built the Young Leadership Men's Academy there. It's an all-boys school that's focused on really providing academic rigorous programming that's bring our boys not only the discipline about working together. I love their mantra of, working as brothers, united together so they can advance each other. And then we also have Bertha Sadler Means, our Young Women's Leadership Academy, with a heavy focus on STEM, that they're actually trying to turn the tide of putting more women, more minorities in STEM-related fields down the road. So those are two big investments that we've made over the last couple of years. At high school, we've also made the investments of looking at our different early college high schools. We have 3 early college high schools, one at Reagan High School, one at LBJ High School, one at Travis High School, our newest early college high schools. But we've actually started down, we have twilight schools, we have our online campus with Garza Online that's meeting the needs of a lot of our students that couldn't fit courses into their schedules or couldn't fit, they needed to take additional courses that maybe their high school couldn't offer that couldn't fit in their schedules. So we put the whole programming online, and these are all free programming for our families and students. And then we've also built several fine arts programs throughout the city. We started elementary with our Blackshear Fine Arts Academy. We have a new one that's coming online with Campbell that we're working to build a digital media fine arts program that we have. And then at our middle school, we have Lamar Fine Arts Academy, and we also have Covington Fine Arts Academy that's coming online, and they're starting to go strong and build programming, which could feed into the McAllen Fine Arts Academy that we have at the high school, which recently was just awarded the Grammy Award for the #1 performing high school in the country right now.
That's amazing.
It is.
Wow. So I know in your previous role, you were Chief Schools Officer. What were some of the accomplishments under your leadership?
Well, like I've mentioned before, that we've had the all-time high graduation. Our graduation rates continue to go up, which is attendance rates at our secondary campuses tend to go up, and our discipline's going down. But our academic program, and again, we're really proud that when we look at some of our rigorous indicators like SAT scores and AP scores, advanced placement scores, those are ticking upward as well. And so we're just not about keeping a minimum floor standard. We have no interest in doing that, nor do our families have an interest in that. They want rigorous programming. So those are the big high-level accomplishments we have. And also, I was involved in all the programming that we mentioned. Pretty much myself, Dr. Cruz was involved in developing that and really moving a lot of the dollars and the resources that we've had of the district on the east side of Austin. Before, if you look at our district 10 years ago, we didn't have early college high schools in the East Austin area. We didn't have, STEM-focused schools in East Austin, and we didn't have gender schools like our Young Leadership Men's Academy and our Young Women's Leadership Academy. None of that programming existed in East Austin, and I'm real proud that Dr. Cruz and I, as various different roles that we performed in the district the last several years, that we were able to enhance our programming and really stabilize low-performing schools and really break the chain that was happening of really our failing schools in East Austin. Now we have very high-performing schools in East Austin.
So the schools of today are not the same as yesterday. So what is the school district doing to keep up with the paradigm?
Well, that's a moving target all the time. We've partnership with the Greater Austin Chamber of Commerce that helps us with the data points looking at where are the jobs going to be the next 10 years. So they can help us see, we have jobs that they're forecasting in medical and in computer science, that these are the areas where we really need to put our investments now, put our programming, change our programming. As a result, we only had computer science in 1 or 2 schools in our district just a couple of years ago. Now we have it in 9 and 10 schools. We're moving to all of our schools now, offering one form or another of computer science and attracting our students in that program because we know that's where our city is moving. That's where our Central Texas area is needing. And the same thing with also expanding our healthcare offerings. We have healthcare offerings now at Travis, Reagan, LBJ, Eastside, Aikens, Lanier, and those are programming that 5 years ago didn't exist. So again, these are meeting the needs of what the job market is saying we're going to need over the next 5 to 10 years. And we are adjusting in real time to meet the needs of our city, meet the needs of our area, and more importantly, meet the needs of our students.
Every year during March, AISD participates in the South by Southwest EDU Festival. Can you tell me more about Austin ISD's participation and showcase?
Well, that's one of the exciting events that we have, and really thanking Ron Reed, the director of South by Southwest EDU. And really, because he was a product of AISD, he came to us and said, and just like a conversation right here, we were able to develop a partnership where we're able to showcase our school and bring thousands of students to the free event, that they're able to see what other things are out there for them, see what the high-tech industry is offering, see what other businesses are offering, what their options might be. So it's an exciting event where we get to showcase several of our schools. We get to bring our families and students in for free, and they get to really see the different events, see the different sessions that are happening, and what options that they can really learn from that's going to inform their decisions in the future. So it's an event that we keep growing. We started with just 1,000 students the first time we did this a couple years ago. Now it's thousands and thousands of students and staff members. They actually are doing a great job of giving us not only discounts for the actual conference that happens all week, which is becoming a real premier educational conference that's drawing participants from all over the world. So they were able to give us not only discounted for registration, but even free registration for a lot of our educators. So it's becoming a real exciting event. First, it was a global event. Now we've attached the global event with us locally, and we're able to show the rest of the world and the country what AISD is all about.
Most recently there was a high school showcase. Can you tell me more about what happened there, who was there, what was showcased?
Sure. We've had choice fairs, which only our choice schools participated. And in looking at that, we said, why not showcase all our schools? So our middle schools and our high schools. So we started with a middle school event where every one of our middle schools participated in the event. And we had hundreds of families. Some of them it was the first time they were being informed about some of the programming that we have to offer here in our middle schools. And it was real eye-waking for a lot of our families. We showcased the talent we have in middle schools and the options our families have in choosing. From that morphed into the high schools throwing a huge event at the Palmer Event Center, where every one of the high schools really participated. And we were lucky for our first event. We had hundreds of families that went out there and really got to see firsthand, talk to students from the different schools, talk to their principals, talk to teachers, and really understand the wide array of programming that we do offer at each of our high schools.
On a personal note, can you share with us something that most people don't know about you?
Oh, wow. Trying to put me on the spot, Linda, I see.
What are some of your hidden skills or passions?
Well, I'm real proud. I am the father of 4 children, one of them which graduated from Lhasa High School. He graduated 3 years ago, and because of AISD and because of the rigorous program that he went through, he's going to graduate from a 4-year institution, Texas Tech. Although I'm a Longhorn, he's a Red Raider. He's going to graduate in 3 years, which is this year. And so I'm real, and that was really a very good time for me because I could actually experience not only the district from as a district employee, but as a father of a child going through the system and seeing the decisions that we make as district leaders, how they impact my own child, a student in real time. And so that was real exciting time. So a lot of people don't realize I do have 4 children, one of which graduated
I didn't know
with us.
that.
I think that the other thing that when people find out that are a little surprised, I like to paint. So I do abstract painting. I was doing acrylics on canvas. Now I've switched over to oils, which is an interesting switch over for me, but it's something that relaxes me and that I enjoy. And I don't like to share my art because I don't think I'm very good at it, but I enjoy doing that.
No, that's great. A few years ago, I did see an interview that you did for the Hispanic Almanac, and in there I remember reading that at one point you wanted to go to law school. How did you make that transition from perhaps going to law school to education?
I think, for a lot of us, when we graduated, when I did from high school and going through college, a lot of our families were focusing, especially, at least in my neighborhood, for our Hispanic students that were performing, decent in school. They really were like, you need to be a lawyer, doctor or lawyer. Those were your only options. Mm-hmm. And my family was no different. My parents were no different. My father's dream was for me to be a lawyer. So in my head, I was like, yeah, I'll go to law school. And I was fortunate enough to work at the Tarleton Law Library. At the time, it was the Tarleton Law Library here at UT. And I worked for the executive director of the law library, Dr. Mirsky. And he was real good to me, showing me what it meant to be a lawyer. And as much as I enjoyed my time there, I was like, that might not be for me. That doesn't, reading a bunch of contracts for hours on end, that doesn't seem very exciting, or it doesn't seem like you're going to help really change the world. No offense to any lawyers. I think there's a lot of great ones out there. But that wasn't exciting. And then I was invited to give a talk at a high school on just the election at the time and just the election cycles and what I thought about it. And because I was a political science major at UT, and when I was in front of the high school kids, I was enjoying the interaction so much. I said, what a cool job. I mean, teaching government to high school kids, and you get paid to talk and learn about something you really, really enjoy. And I was bitten by the education. I mean, I was like, this is the job I have to do. And that's why I made the decision that, I was going to become a teacher and I was going to be an educator. And to my dad's dismay, and even to this day, occasionally he'll bring up, you're doing okay, son, but you could have been a lawyer, could have been, so. But that's why I moved away from there.
Speaking of inspiration, who has made an impact in your life?
Well, my parents. I mean, my family. My mom is an educator, and she started later on in life, much later on. She didn't get her degree until I was already in college. And one of the reasons why she went back to get her degree was because she said, my whole life, I've been pitching you and pushing you towards becoming educated. And really, really, when she looked into value, she said, wait a minute, I need to model that herself. So she went back to school and finished her degree, and then she later on was a teacher and then became an assistant principal before she retired. And my father then, still with the love of our country, being a Marine and being so patriotic and dedicated to our country, but his work ethic. My dad's philosophy was, you do whatever it takes to put food on the table. So we grew up relatively, working poor, and my dad took whatever job extra that he had to just to put food on the table and provide for his family. And I tell people the story. One time, we were living in Hawaii, and it was very expensive for my family. And so my dad, even though he was a sergeant in the Marine Corps, he took a job working at McDonald's just so he can earn extra money to put food on the table to provide for his family. It's their story and that inspiration for them taught me the importance of working hard and taking care of your family and doing what it takes to make sure that your family's successful. My parents believed that their kids were the most important thing out there. And I have taken that philosophy and understand that I tell my own children that everything is built around making sure that they have what's necessary for them to be successful, and that they also have the philosophy and the ability that they take care of people that maybe don't have those other opportunities that they have.
Great. Tell us more about some of the new initiatives that your office has this year.
Sure. Well, one of the big things that we're working on right now is we have a planning committee that's working on possibly taking to the school board the option of building a South Magnet program. Right now, our families in the South, and we have several hundred that actually drive or take the bus and go across town to go to our Magnet program at LASA. So we're currently working on, we have a working group of families, teachers, principals, people that we're putting together to see if it's a viable option that we could actually build another South Magnet program. The other big one that we're working on is looking at the Northeast. At the Mueller development, there's 10 acres of land that they would give to the district if we built a school there. So we have another working group that's looking at what concepts that possibly could enhance the Northeast schools and provide services for our students that maybe we currently don't do. That's why we're calling that group Imagine the Northeast Group. And of course, we're retooling all our programming right now. I've mentioned before we have innovation design teams that are looking at bilingual education. We're working hand in hand with the technology rollout. You know, we passed an $81 million bond for technology, and we work closely with our technology department in order to make sure that it's a smooth transition, but not just about the devices that are rolling out, but actually change classroom practices to make sure that we're innovative, that we're really taking advantage and using technology in transformative ways. So those are the real big ones that we're doing. We're looking at possibly launching 2 more early college high schools, one at Eastside Memorial High School and one also at Lanier High School. So that would give us 5 early college high schools if we're able to do that. And we're looking at rebuilding our middle schools again, looking with the middle school team to really look at all the programming at the middle school that we can do and what else do we need to provide for our families that's going to provide an additional option that our families might choose. And then enhancing our elementary, taking our resources. A lot of our resources are spent at high school, but we're looking at, is that really the greatest impact as far as long-term of the student? We know the research shows that really when you're looking at a child at 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, if they stay on grade level, if they get on grade level in reading and math at that point, they almost always are successful. So if we know that, then looking at how we can take existing resources and moving them to the grade levels we know will have the greatest impact. So that's currently some of the big initiatives that we're looking at right now.
What is the school district doing about under-enrolled schools and overcapacity schools?
That's a great question. That's one of the topics that we've been discussing, not only as a district, but as a city and as a community. Because one of the challenges here in the Austin School District is that we have the southeast region that's blowing up in population. Our schools are way over capacity. We have some schools that have 165, 170% over capacity. And in the northwest, we have schools, again, are very popular with families. So we have middle school, elementary, high schools that are way over capacity that they're doing. But then we also have areas of the city that we're losing enrollment. And that maybe families, because of the affordability issues on our city, and also because we have competition with charters and private schools, that students they're under capacity. So we're attacking it at both ends. One of them is looking at how we can alleviate our schools that are over capacity. So we've made changes to the transfer policies that we had some transfer policies that even though a school was frozen, you theoretically were not supposed to be able to transfer in. Because the policy was written in such a way, you actually could transfer into those schools. So we've changed those policies that won't allow that, and we hope that'll provide some temporary relief to our schools that are over capacity. But we've also gone onto a marketing campaign that we're going to try to market our schools that are under-enrolled and really look at in selling our programming and really invite our families in. We've also made changes again to transfers. We accept out-of-district transfers. Out-of-district transfers to people that if you don't live in AISD boundaries, but you want to attend our schools, you can apply and transfer into several of our campuses that we have. That's brand new. We just started that last year. And then we've also expanded our pre-K3 program. We didn't have a pre-K 3-year-old program. Now we have a pre-K 3-year-old program. And that's added several hundreds of students and families that have come into the system and take advantage at a very affordable option for them. For many of it's free. We also have tuition-based pre-K programs as well that are a lot more affordable than some of the daycare options that maybe our families have. Then the last thing that we've done too is we've allowed employees for the district. Not only if you want to go in our pre-K program for tuition, it's a $1,000 discount, which is really good for our employees and helps them out. And then the second one is also opening up for any district employee, any full-time district employee can transfer their child to any school in the system, whether it's frozen or not. And we think that's going to be also another great option that our families can take advantage of.
How do you stay up to date to what's happening in education? What's the latest best practices? Are there any particular books, anything you subscribe to, conferences you attend?
A lot, it's easier nowadays, when you look at Twitter and you follow, leading educators throughout the country and they put out the latest publications, it makes it a lot easier to really stay up to date. It's not like in the old days where you had to wait for once a month for a magazine to come across and do that. So that makes it. But I also look at what's happening in the business world, what's happening in the medical community, what's happening throughout the world in different industries that were happening. I like to follow innovative companies like Google and Apple and others. That to see how they're attacking problems and evolving as they go through their evolution and their business evolves. So I look at those things, and I also pay attention to different schools that we're doing, and then talk to educators, not just from throughout the country, but really the educators that we have homegrown here in Austin ISD. We have some creative minds out there, some really go-getters that are super creative and tapping onto. Part of what I said, that is the challenge of what our whole team is designed to do, is to get out of the way sometimes of those really innovative principals and teachers and figure out how we can support and help them grow organically, and then that'll affect the entire system.
Well, thank you so much for your interview today, Edmond. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just I'm really proud of our district. Our district it's a great place. It's a great place to work. It's a great place to have, families come to our schools. We have safe schools that are really high-performing schools. We know we have challenges like every other urban district, but we have a really talented individuals in this district from, you name it, from every single level out there, from our teachers to our principals to here in central office that we have. I know we have a phenomenal leader in Dr. Cruz, who people always ask me all the time, what is he like privately? You know him very well. I said, what you see out there is how he is privately. He believes in our families and kids and believes that we should create world-class schools that are going to support our kids.
How can community members and parents stay in touch with you?
Oh, anyway, I'm pretty accessible. So but a lot of the ways that we like to see our families is joining some of our working committees that we have that we're looking at. I mean, tonight is a prime example. We have FabPack that's looking at boundaries, bonds, looking at our schools. We have a South Magnet group that's meeting as well. I mean, getting involved, really getting involved that way, joining that. Those are actually the groups that are informing our work that are actually going to change our system for the better. So I would strongly encourage our families to join those kind of groups.
And families and parents and community members can also follow you on Twitter.
Yes, they can.
Yes, yes. It's ER Oropez, is that correct?
That's correct. I have 2 Twitter accounts. It's ER Oropez. That's my personal Twitter account. Of course, I mix a lot of business and personal. And then we also have the Chief Officer for Teaching and Learning Twitter account as well, that you can follow us as well.
Thank you, Edmond, for sharing your afternoon with us, and we'll be in touch soon regarding the programs and initiatives that the school district has.
No, thank you.
If you have suggestions for future programs, please email me at linda.medina@austinisd.org or call 414-9706. I'm Linda Medina Lopez and your host for UpClose TV.